Hello darlings, and welcome to my 2026 TBR video. So in today's video, I will be going through all the books that I plan on reading this year, and I will be breaking them down month by month. So honestly, for January, I didn't really set a TBR. I was also finishing up the Caraval series. I was finishing up the last book in that series, a little bit going into January, and I was also trying to decide which books I wanted to read. And honestly, I was planning on reading in January, but it just kind of like the month just flew by and I didn't end up really reading any books or picking any up. But we are in mid-February and I have already finished a book. I'm almost finished another one, and I will be finishing a series this month. So in the beginning of this month in February, I did actually read The Silent Patient, and it was phenomenal. It was amazing. I actually do not have the physical copy, but I did read it on Kindle Unlimited and it is still on there. So if you are one of the few people like me who took forever to read the book, it is on there. It was very, very good. I'm very glad I started the year off reading that book. It was phenomenal, and I don't know how much I can say without like spoiling it, but there is a psychotherapist that is talking with a patient who is silent. She chooses to be silent. She went silent after, from what we are told, after she murdered her husband, and nobody can figure out why she did it, what happened, what led up to it. And so this psychotherapist is trying to like uncover that, go in and ask him people related to the patient and who know the patient, and trying to figure out, you know, what happened in her life that led up to that moment, and to figure out if she is the one that killed her husband. And then there is a lot of twists, there's a lot of turns, and throughout it, this was actually my first book. This was actually my first book that I ever annotated. Don't like annotating books, especially like physically doing it on a book. Like I can't, that's like, it feels like vandalism. I don't know, I just can't do it. I was reading it on my Kindle, so obviously I was able to like highlight on the Kindle. I liked that I was able to write my thoughts with it, just because, you know, it is a more suspenseful and mystery book. It was so good. My sister has tried to get me to read it for a very long time, and I finally did, and I got to the ending and I was like, yeah, this is really good, to where I need there to be a petition for there to be a show or a movie. I think it could be wrapped up in a movie. I don't think it necessarily needs to be a show, but it was so good. When I finished, I told my husband, I was like, yeah, if this turns out to be a movie, or if it goes from like book to film, you would love this. And he was like, okay. So maybe one day if I can convince my husband to read, that will definitely be one that I will be making him read, because it was so good. Like I mentioned, I ended last year reading the Caraval series. So I am currently in the middle of Once Upon a Broken Heart. I am just before halfway through the book. So I'll be finishing this soon, and then I'll get to Ballad of Never After. So this one, and then A Curse for True Love. So my sister has actually highly recommended these books, and she was one of the many that read the Once Upon a Broken Heart series and didn't know that it actually followed with the Caraval series. So if you're one of those people that do not know, or has been wanting to read the series or the Caraval series, read Caraval first. It is like important, because then you'll understand characters a lot better, instead of it just being like all these random characters. You get like a full backstory. And plus the Caraval series was very fun. I have really loved this book. It's so good. It's so fun. I really enjoy it. This is also one that's hard for me to kind of talk about without spoiling Caraval. So I would highly recommend, like I mentioned, read Caraval. This follows middle of the last book of Caraval. Now, it was either right when I was about to start finale, or I had just started finale, but I found out that there is a tiny tandem read for Once Upon a Broken Heart and finale, which is the last book in the Caraval series. I highly recommend doing that. I will try and link that in the description box of what the tandem read is, because I think it's like finale you read chapters 1 through 15, and then after 15 I think you read 1 through 5 or 1 through 4 on here. Then you go back to Caraval, you read 16 through the rest, and then you pick up at either chapter 5 or chapter 6 in this book. But I do like that this book actually starts in the finale, or in finale, but in the last book of the Caraval series. So you really are just picking up right where it left off, and then from, like I mentioned, the tandem read, from either chapter 5 or chapter 6, it straight up just picks up right from where finale left off. So it is a very, very fun series. It's a very fun world. Now these are actually the Barnes & Noble hardcover editions. The original publishing cover is a little different. It's actually black on the background and then like these pastels, but I love pastels. And so whenever I found these book covers, I knew that I had to get them. And so I actually got a Barnes & Noble gift card for Christmas from my sweet mother-in-law. I have had these on my list for a very long time. And so whenever I got the gift card, I was like, yep, I know exactly which books I'm getting with them. Another thing that's fun about these books is not only are there prettier colors to me, they also have really cool hardcovers too. This is what the hardcover looks like. They all say a little something different. This says recipes for the ancient north, and then it says translated for the first time in 500 years. So right now that kind of doesn't mean much to me, just because I don't think I've gotten to that part of the book. It kind of was mentioned something about that, like the recipes, but regardless. So this is the second book, or no, this is the last book, Curse for True Love. And then it says Ballad of the Archer and the Fox. And then the second one, Ballad of Never After. This is what this one is. It's so cute. I love the white with the gold. And then it says The Rise and the Fall of the Valors. And then on the bottom it says Beloved First Royal Family of the Magnificent North. They didn't have that on, obviously, the original publishing covers for the hardback. So obviously, like I mentioned, read The Silent Patient. Pretty dang good, and I am in the middle of Once Upon a Broken Heart. So that is my February read, and one of the reasons why I wanted to do this one in February is because Once Upon a Broken Heart, February, Valentine's Day. This just felt like very appropriate for February and Valentine's Day. So those are my February reads. So the first books that I'm reading in March, which I honestly thought I was gonna read in January, but I didn't because I started off the year last year reading them, is the Inheritance Games. I read those January of last year. So I was gonna, finish the series or like the second half of the series this January, but that didn't happen. But in March, I am going to be reading the same backwards and forwards. And this is one of the books that I just can't. You've got to read the Inheritance Games. And I will not even tell my sister what this book is about because she has not read the first she hasn't read the first 4 books. So even mentioning who it's about is going to be a spoiler. So if you have read the Inheritance Games, you need to get this book, okay? First of all, it's flippin' gorgeous. So this book is about 2 characters from the Inheritance Games, but it is 2 points of view. So first you read one point of view, and then you flip the book, and then you read the other character's point of view. I mean, the concept is so cool, and the title, The Same Backwards and Forward, is like something that gets mentioned in the Inheritance Games. I'm so excited to read this book. The only thing I will say about this book is you're probably gonna cry, okay? So just get ready for that. You'll probably cry. But I'm so excited because I wanted more storyline for these characters, and now we have a full book for them. How pretty is this book? Are you kidding me? I mean, the book is just gorgeous. Are you kidding me? This is a stunning book for it just to be a side character's book. She really went all out, as she should and as she needed to. I am so excited for this book. So this will be the first book that I read in March because I cannot wait any longer to read it. Continuing on with the series, I am finally starting the Grandest Games series. So this follows the Inheritance Games. It kind of, I think, somewhat picks up after the 4th book, and it is important to read the 4th book. So there's the Inheritance Game series. I think it's technically the first 3, and then the 4th book is the Brothers Hawthorne. So that's really following 2 of the brothers in the Inheritance Game series, and then after them you get told about the Grandest Games. It is the game set up from characters from the Inheritance Games, and you get a chance to win a lot of money if you are the winner of this game. So it's really fun because the first series has a lot of puzzles, a lot of twists and turns, and so this series, this game, game was created by some of the characters in the Inheritance games, and they put the games together so that the players are ones that, you know, don't have a lot of money, so it gives them an opportunity to win a lot of money. This is also the Barnes & Noble exclusive cover edition. I think that they still have more. I think you could still find them. And then I have Thorn season. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know what this book is about, which is kind of bad to say, but my sister got it and she told me about it. Not about the book, of what the book is about, just the cover itself, because it's beautiful, okay? And then there's also these beautiful sprayed etching. How gorgeous is that? And it just feels like beginning of springtime. So I am going to be reading this book. I mean, stunning. This is so pretty. It's white with kind of a pearl finish on top. I don't know if you can see like the opalescence on the cover, but it's also embossed with thorn vines. It has these really pretty 3 roses with kind of like a star. Here's the spine of it. It's so pretty. And then there's also in paper art. So obviously I was gonna get it. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is a YA book. I will just read what it says on the inside. So it says, an heiress possesses illegal magic who has more to lose than just her secrets. A harsh and glittering royal court where the threat of discovery lurks around every corner. 2 beguiling and very dangerous men who might be her salvation or her ruin. It's rose season at the palace, but survival will depend on becoming the most vicious of thorns. So that seems very interesting. I'm very excited about it. It's such a cute book, but yeah, I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but it's one of those books that you just see the cover and you're like, there's no way this book is not gonna be really good. And then I do have a 4th book that I plan on reading. It is the 7th Bridgerton book. I don't have it yet. I need to buy the 7th and the 8th book. It will go on my shelf right there with the other ones. I have been buying them whenever I'm about to read them. So I only have the last 2 left. So I will be reading It Is in His Kiss. That is sweet little Hyacinth's book, which, you know, she's not little in the book. She's grown. So that will be March's reads. I'm so excited. And again, it is the same backwards and forwards. It's a need. You need to get the book. The Grandest Games, Thorn season, and then I will be ending the month with reading the 7th Bridgerton book, which is It Is in His Kiss. So for the month of April, I only have 2 of the 4 books that I plan on reading. Sorry, you just see her little tail. It's okay. So I am starting the month finishing the Bridgerton series, and it will be the 8th book. So it will be Gregory's book, and it is called On the Way to the Wedding. And then the second book I plan on reading is Games Untold. So this is part of the Inheritance Games series. This is a book of novellas that I think follow along the first 4 books, and then also the first book of the Grandest Games. So it's got the whole Inheritance Games series, and then it also has some novellas that happen either in between or after the Grandest Games. So you are supposed to read Games Untold after reading the Grandest Games. I think it's such a pretty cover. I know Barnes & Noble has their own exclusive edition, and it's pink. Theirs is like a rose gold cover, but I liked the gold better. And it does have some of our favorite characters in it. So I'm very excited about this one. And then I will be reading The Rose Bargain. And I am so excited about this one. I got this last year. I meant to read it and I just didn't ever get to it. But it's perfect timing because the 4th book I plan on reading in March is The Thorn Queen, which is the 2nd book to the Rose Bargain series. But it's got these really cute rose and paper art, and then the hardcover is green. Then it's got pink fold print for the spine. I am very excited about this series. I have heard wonderful things about this series. If I'm not mistaken, it's like the selection, which I never did read. My sister tried getting me to read it for forever, and I just didn't ever get around to it. She loves that series. And then also maybe Bridgerton. Can't remember what the other book was that people like kind of compared the 2 of them together. So this book is a little twisted, and I'll have to read the inside of what it says. High society girls are expected to bargain for qualities that will win them them suitors, a rare talent for piano in exchange for one's happiest childhood memory, a perfect smile for one's ability to taste. But Ivy's debut season arrives with a shocking twist, a competition to marry the queen's fae son, Prince Bram. It's a prize that could save Ivy's family from ruin and free her older sister from the bargain that destroyed her. Yet every glittering fae deal has a rotting heart. And amidst lavish balls, vicious competition, and a dangerous alliance with the prince's rakish younger brother, Prince Emmett, Ivy realizes that at the center of this contest lies a dark plot that could destroy all of England and her heart with it. I'm very excited about it, and this has kind of made me want to read the selection, and maybe one day I'll get around to it. It's just not high on my list. And then obviously the second one, The Thorn Queen, that will be following the first book, so I'm very excited. And again, I will be reading Bridgerton number 8. I will be finishing the series, and it is called On the Way to the Wedding. Then I will be reading Games Untold, The Rose Bargain, and then The Thorn Queen, all for the month of April. Okay, so for the month of May, I do have one book that I need to get. I have not gotten it yet. It is Divine Ravels. I have the second book, and I have kind of the third book in the series. It's technically a standalone, but it is in the universe of the Divine Ravels. My sister has been telling me to read this series for so long, and I'm very excited that I am finally getting around to it. Like I mentioned, do not have the first one yet. I need to order that one soon. I do, however, have the second one. I'm so bad about that, about having books from a series, but it's like never the first book. It's always like the second, third, or like later on. But it's always because I find it at the store for like 50% off or cheaper. So obviously I'm gonna get it then, and that is how I have Ruthless Vows. I got it at Books A Million when they were having their 50% off on hardcover books. So obviously I had to grab it. It was significantly cheaper. So that's how I have the second book. So I don't know too much about this world. All I know is that it is like it's a YA romance, if I'm not mistaken, and I think it's kind of like magic realism, and it's during like war times, but there is like a magical typewriter, and one of the characters like types on it, and then the other character finds it. They're like able to communicate through the typewriter, which is really cool. I know that in this series there's like gods and goddesses, so obviously the second one follows the first one. I know my description is really not great for it, but I also wanted to go in kind of blind, like that's all I wanted to hear about it, because my sister has really raved about this series. So I'm super excited, and I will say I think the cover's very cute. It's got a typewriter, and then it says Dear Roman, who's obviously one of the characters. So I will be obviously reading Divine Rivals first, and then Ruthless Vows, and then I have The Wild Reverence, which is about the gods and goddesses, or one of the gods and goddesses from that world. I think it's like a prequel, so it's like the story of the gods that you then, you know, learn about in Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. So this was the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I don't know if the other have the in-paper art. I think they do. I think the only thing that was different with Barnes & Noble is that it was like glued spray edging, but it's just one simple color, so it's not like it's anything crazy or special. And then what's really cool is this beautiful hardcover. Look how gorgeous this book is. Are you joking me? That is art. That is beautiful. That is so pretty. So obviously these are the characters that we're following along in this book, and I have also heard really good things about Wild Reverence. I don't believe my sister has read this book yet, which I know she'll probably read it soon. She is one of those, very respectfully when I say this, psycho readers that, you know, can read multiple books in a week. I'm lucky if I finish a book in a week, to where she can read several books in a month. Even though I am doing 4 books per month, I will be honestly very impressed with myself, and a little surprised if I end up finishing all 4 books each month. I will be ending the month of May with one of the girls. I did mention this, I believe, in my summer recommendations video, so I can leave that one linked below if you would like to see what books I recommended last year for the summertime. This is one that my sister actually recommended me. I did not get around to it, and I was sad about it, but I know I'm definitely getting around to it this year. I got this at Books A Million in the bargain section. It was $7.97, so keep an eye out at your Books A Million in the bargain section, because my sister and I went one day last year. I think it was like in August or September, and we racked up on books. I think I got like 10 books, but they were all under $10. They all ranged from maybe $4 to maybe $8. And they were hardcovers. And they were books we knew we were gonna read eventually. This one is about a bachelorette trip with several friends, and I will read some of the inside. One of us is a liar, one of us is a stranger, one of us is a cheater, but which one of us is a killer? So obviously this is gonna be phenomenal and very interesting. I could only imagine it would keep my attention and make me want to finish this book very quickly. This is about a book with a group of girls going on a bachelorette trip in Greece. Each of the women is hiding a secret, and soon their mask will begin to slip. Someone is determined to make sure that Lexi, the bride, Lexi's marriage never happens, and that one of the women doesn't leave the island alive. Yes, please. That sounds amazing. So I'm so excited to get to this book. That is my May reads. I am starting May with Divine Rivals, and then Ruthless Vows, and then we will go into Wild Reverence, and then ending the month of May with One of the Girls. So for the month of June, I again only have 2 of the books that I plan on reading. So I need to eventually buy the other 2. I will be starting off the month of June, finishing the Daughter of the Pirate King series. So last year I read the first book, which is Daughter of the Pirate King. And then the second one is Daughter of the Siren Queen. And then the last one is Vengeance of the Pirate Queen. So again, like I mentioned in my last video, I don't have the first 2. I still really need to get them like soon, because they are the sprayed edging edition, and they will probably be gone very soon. I have the last one because I found it in the bargain section at Books A Million for maybe $7, and they're originally $24. So I think this was one of those instances that someone returned the book, and so they put it in the bargain section because it was perfect condition. I don't know why it was there. As you can see, they have these beautiful sprayed edging. Like I mentioned, I read the first one last year, so the second one follows the first one, which is Daughter of the Siren Queen. Then I will be reading Vengeance of the Pirate Queen. And then the third book I plan on reading, I do not have, is I Did Warn Her, which is by Sean Gilbert, the same author who wrote She Started It. She came out with that book last year, and my sister got it, and she was like, holy crap, this is so good. And that one was like the Below Deck reality TV show. It's about the crew on yachts and how each charter works and everything, like behind the scenes. And my sister loves that show, so she was so excited about that book and she loved it. And so it's like a murder mystery version of Below Deck. So if that means anything to you, regardless, read the book. Read anything that Sean writes. Her third book comes out this year, and I think it's called The Five of Us. I'm also excited about that one. And then the fourth book I plan on reading in the month of June is Glorious Rivals, because the third book of the series comes out in July. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, and again, it just follows along the story of the Grandest Games. So like I mentioned, I will be reading in the month of June Daughter of the Siren Queen, Vengeance of the Pirate Queen, and then I Did Warn Her, and Glorious Rivals. So for the month of July, I actually have very wishful thinking, and I have 5 books that I plan to try and finish and read in the month of July, which for me, I don't know if that's gonna happen, but hopefully with the help of audiobooks that might, work. Maybe, getting myself to read more and leading up to that, to try and read 4 books a month instead of like 2 or 3, and actually reading will get me, trained enough to where by July I can finish 5 books, which, like I mentioned, is wishful thinking. And also, as you can see, I only have 1 of the books. So I will be starting the month of July out with Fable, and I plan on reading the Fable series all in July, along with the 3rd book in the Grandest Games series, which is called The Gilded Blade. So that one doesn't come out until like I think maybe it's the 2nd week of July. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start Fable, and then we'll finish the Grandest Games series, and then we'll pick right back up with the 2nd book, which is called Namesake. And then we will go straight into The Last Legacy, and then finish July with Saint. So these are the hardcovers, and I know that they are changing the covers. They are now doing paperback, and they have these covers for paperback, but they also are doing new prints of the paperback, and they're really cool covers, which I really like. But I really like hardback, first of all, but also I really liked the faces of these covers. And then this is what the hardcover looks like. So the Fable series, don't know too much about it. So Fable is the name of our character, our FMC. She is 17 years old. She is the daughter of the most powerful trader in the Narrows, which is the town or the parts of the ocean. The sea is the only home she has ever known. And it has been 4 years since the night that she watched her mother drown in like an awful storm. And then the next day, her father abandoned her on a legendary island filled with thieves and little food. Rude. To survive, she must keep to herself and learn to trust no one and rely on the unique skills her mother taught her. The only thing that keeps her going is the goal to get off the island, find her father, and demand her rightful place beside him and his crew. To do so, Fable has to enlist the help of a young trader named West to get her off the island and across the Narrows to her father. But her father's rivalries and the dangers of the trading enterprise have only multiplied since she last saw him. And Fable soon finds that West isn't who he seems, which, duh. Together they will have to survive more than the treacherous sea that haunts the Narrows if they are going to stay alive. So just a fun pirate story, and I have also only heard really good things about this series. So I am so excited to finally get into this series. This is one that I have looked at for many, many years. And it just seems like it's going to be such a good pirate series. And also the covers are just really pretty. And my best friend Megan also had an additional copy of this, so she gave it to me, which I was so excited about. Now it's just even more special because my sweet best friend gave it to me. So like I mentioned, I will be starting the month of July with Fable, and then I will be going into the Gilded Blade, which is the last book in the Grandest Games series, and then I will be going right back into the Fable series, reading Namesake, The Last Legacy, and then I will be finishing the month of July with Saint. So for the month of August, I am actually really excited for this month. I will be starting What the River Knows. I have been so excited to read this series since my sister first introduced it to me. I'd say about like a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago when she first read them. So this is actually the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition cover. I don't think there's any extra content. It's just the colorways are different. They're a lot prettier in my opinion. They do not have them anymore. At least I know they do not have What the River Knows. They might have Where the Library Hides. The best way to describe it is The Mummy and The Death on the Nile. When she said it kind of has like the Mummy feel, I was like, I'm sold. I'm reading it because we loved the Mummy movies and the Librarian movies. Like those two movies series were our favorites growing up, and my sister and I definitely watched the Mummy a lot. So we are very excited that they are coming out with another one because we have missed our sweet Brandon Fraser. So happy he is back. He has been dearly missed. So I will show you the cover of this book. I don't know if the standard print has this or if these hieroglyphics are exclusive to the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. Regardless, it's gorgeous. I actually found this one on Pongo or Pango, however you pronounce it, but it's the app for books that you can sell your books and buy books that are used or just books that you bought and you're never going to read. But the inside has really cute in paper art of our two main characters. This follows our FMC Inez. From what I have understood is that this is like a historical fantasy kind of book, definitely feeling like, you know, the Mummy time period. These are also our rivals to lovers characters right here. So Inez's parents, they're like world travelers. It says globetrotters. They end up go missing, and I believe they pass away, or she's told that they're passed away. Who knows, maybe they did actually pass away, but for me and all the books and movies I read, you know, you don't really know if they actually have passed away. So Inez ends up inheriting her parents' massive fortune and a mysterious guide, an archaeologist, and in partnership with his Egyptian brother-in-law. So Inez is trying to find answers of her parents' death, and so she brings her little sketch pad and she sails to the area where they went missing or where they passed away. So her father gave her a gold ring for safekeeping before he passed away. So she brings her sketch pad and then she's wearing that, and upon arrival, the old world magic tethers to the ring and pulls her down a path where where she discovers there's more to her parents' disappearance than what the guide led her to believe. And then with her guardian infatuating handsome assistant thwarting her at every turn, Inez must rely on ancient magic to uncover the truth about her parents' disappearance or risk becoming a pawn in a larger game that will kill her. Like, this sounds so good. So obviously that's what this first book is about. And then we follow along on the second book, which is Where the Library Hides. I don't really know anything about the second book. I don't want to know anything about the second book because then that would be spoilers. So this is what the second book looks like. It has these hieroglyphics and then it has this really pretty end paper art. These characters are just so cute. So I am so excited to read this series. If it's like The Mummy, it just feels like it's gonna be hot sauna weather, you know, just in the heat, in the desert. So August just feels like the perfect time to read these when it's blazing hot. So that is what I am reading in the beginning, and then I will be going into Nightweaver. And even though these are like pirate books, the reason why I'm waiting to read these at the end of August is because September 1st, the third book comes out. So I don't know too much about this series. I know enough to know that I want to read it, and several other YouTubers that I watch or booktubers that I watch have read this series and has raved about it, and also beautiful sprayed edging. I was gonna read them earlier in the year, but because the third book comes out in September, I was like, I might as well just wait until August. August is still like a very hot month. So this is the end paper art, which is a beautiful gate, which is for the front of the estate, and then this gorgeous hardcover. Are you kidding me? Just get so excited when authors like take time to make every inch of their books beautiful, whether it's the dust jackets, the hardcovers, the end paper art. Yes, please. And sprayed edging. Like, this has everything all in one, where it's just every single part of it is art. And the fact that this has raving reviews, I'm very excited. So this is about night weavers and pirates. So obviously, you know, pirates are on the sea, and then night weavers, they are kind of like the rulers of the land, and they use elemental magic, and they kind of hate each other. They've been on ongoing battles and wars against each other. So during one of the battles between the pirates and the night weavers, our FMC Aster's brother is killed during battle, and then her family is, she's so cute. Her and her family end up being captured by the Nightweavers. They are then hired by Will, who is one of the Nightweavers. When a handsome Nightweaver named Will offers the family protection and work at their estate, and then, you know, secrets get revealed, twists and turns, lies get uncovered, and that is kind of all I know about this. And it does say on the bottom, it's perfect for fans of Powerless and the Heartless Hunters. I've obviously read the Powerless series, love the Powerless series. I have not read Heartless Hunter, but I have heard great things from that series, and I've only heard wonderful things from this series. Then after that, I will be reading Star Chaser, which is the second book, and beautiful sprayed edging, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And then obviously, so this follows along the first book in the series, and then for the most part, it is the same as the first. It is just pink instead of purple. Here is the beautiful hardcover. I mean, is that not so pretty? Also, there is a map on the back, which I think there's a map on the back of this one as well. Yes, so there's a map on the back of the first one, the end paper art. The maps might be the same. I'm not looking at the second map because there could be spoilers on that one. So the third book, like I mentioned, is coming out in September. So I will be reading that one. So for the month of August, I will be starting it off with What the River Knows, and then going right into Where the Library Hides. And then I will be jumping into the Nightweaver series. And then after Nightweaver, I will be reading Star Chaser. So for the month of September, I only have 2 out of the 4 books that I will be reading. I will be starting out the month, obviously, with the third book in the Nightweaver series, which is called Cursebreaker. I am very excited for that one. I will leave the cover on the screen so you can see it. I'm so excited about it. I'm excited to see what the hardcover looks like. The end paper art, I'm guessing, is probably going to be the same, but also the sprayed edging. They're such pretty books, and the fact that they've only had great reviews just makes me even more happier. And then from there, I will finally be starting the Lightlark series, which I am so excited about. My sister really likes this series. All the booktubers that I like watching have only only said great things about this series. I mean, I've heard about this series for years now, and I'm so excited that I'm finally reading it. So I have the first one and the third one, and I also, the third one. I have the fourth one, and I have Oro and Grimm. I don't have the second one yet. I do need to order that in time to read the books. The reason why I don't have it yet is because I found these two at Second and Charles for a mega discount, maybe for $10, maybe a little less. And then the fourth one that just came out, Crown Tide, that came out on my birthday last year. So my husband actually bought that for my birthday, which is very sweet. And then Grimm and Oro, I went ahead and ordered online because it was on sale. And so I am excited to step into this world. I will read the little description on the inside because this is the only thing I know about the series is this little part, which, you know, is good. I like to go in blind. Welcome to the Centennial. Every 100 years, the island of Lightlark appears for only 100 days to host a deadly game where the rulers of 6 realms fight to break their curses and win unparalleled power. Each ruler has something to hide. Each curse is uniquely wicked. To break them and save themselves and their realms, one ruler will die. To survive, Isla Crown must lie, cheat, and betray, even as love complicates everything. I know that there's 2 love interests, Grimm and Oro. I don't know much about them, and I don't know too much more about the book other than the fact that it sounds incredible. And so this is the hardcover, and then obviously we have Skyshade. This is the third one. It does have a map in this one. It does not have it in the first one. So in the third one, there's a little map, which again, we love. And then the foiled embossed is right there. Like I mentioned, I need to get the second one, which is Nightbane. So like I mentioned, I will be starting the month of September with Cursebreaker, which is the third book of the Nightweaver series. And then I will be starting the Lightlark series. I'll be reading Lightlark, Nightbane once I get that book, and Skyshade. So for the month of October, I will be finishing the Lightlark series, and I will be reading Grimm and Oro, which I think it's a novella. How cool is that? It is a dual point of view from the love interest in the series, which is Grimm and Oro, and this beautiful edition. I asked my sister if I needed it. She was like, yes, if you're wanting to read the series, you need to get this while it's still out. It's so pretty. So you read Grimm's point of view of the book, and then you flip it and you read Oro's point of view in the book, and then you get some very pretty in paper art. I'm so excited to finally get into this series. I've only heard really good things about it. That will be my first book that I read in October, and then I will be reading Crown Tide. I have the Target edition. It's just different colorway, and I really liked this colorway because it was more purple with a little bit of like a rose gold color and golds. I like purple, and so I really liked this one the most, and so I have the Target edition. And then it also has a map on the in paper art, and then it has this, which is really pretty. If I'm not mistaken, it's like the 3 crowns. It's Grimm and Oro's, and then Isla's crown. And then I am very, very excited because I will be reading Sunrise on the Reaping. I know I'm very late to this. I'm very late to it. I got this book the day that it came out, and I was going to read it, but I just didn't ever read it last year. Mainly because I knew I was going to bawl my eyes out. Everyone that has read this, my mother-in-law, my sister, and all the booktubers that have read this have just talked about how much they cried. I will be reading Sunrise on the Reaping just in time for the movie to come out, and then I will be going right into the Hunger Games. So I actually have not read the Hunger Games series yet. I know, I can't believe I haven't either. My husband bought me these books a couple years ago, and I meant to get to them and I just never did. They just kind of felt like fall time books. I'm embarrassed with myself for not reading them yet, but I will be starting the series and reading it. I have read Ballad of Songbird and Snake. Like I mentioned, in the month of October, I will be reading Grimm and Oro, Crown Tide, and finishing up the Lightlark series. And then I will be going into the Hunger Games series and reading Sunrise on the Reaping just in time for the movie to come out. And then I will be starting the Hunger Games. So for the month of October, I am obviously going to be continuing the Hunger Games series, and I'll be reading Catching Fire and then Mockingjay. I have watched the movies so many times, and I love the movies, so I know I'm going to love the books a lot. I will be ending the month reading Rose in Chains. All I know about this book, it is a very popular Hermione book, which if you don't know what Hermione is, it's Draco Malfoy and Hermione Granger from Harry Potter. So this book is apparently an adaptation of the Hermione fanfic called The Auction. I actually have not heard of that one, but I have heard great things about this book. This follows along our FMC Bryony and then Tovin, which they're supposed to look like Hermione and Draco. Their kingdoms are enemies, and after an awful battle where the evil kingdom wins, which is Tovin's kingdom, Bryony is auctioned off to Tovin and is enslaved in his kingdom. So the story actually unfolds between two timelines. So it's obviously the current one when she is enslaved by Tovin, and then also in their past at Magical Academy, which, you know, it's kind of like Hogwarts. Apparently throughout the book it says while Tovin is most definitely her enemy, he's something else too, something unexpected. And then it says down at the bottom, but in a world where magic can instantly crush a human heart and even thoughts can be stolen, there can be no such thing as love. Not for Bryony. A secret rebellion is brewing and she needs to find a way to escape her cage and join it. Despite the horrors of her new world and the role she must learn to play, all is not lost. Help and hope may yet arise in the most unlikely of places. So I am reading this at the end of November because the second book in this series comes out in December. So like I mentioned, in November, I will be starting the month reading Catching Fire, and I will be finishing the Hunger Games series and reading Mockingjay. And then I will be going into the series of the Rose in Chains, which is called the Evermore series. So finishing off the year in December, I will be reading a few Christmassy books, which I am so excited about. These are actually the books I was planning on reading last Christmas, and I did not get around to any of them. So I will be starting off December with Murder at Holly House. I'm excited about this one. My husband also bought this for me on my birthday. We were just kind of walking around. He happened to be off that day, and we went to Books A Million, and I got this book, and I was so excited about it, and I wanted to read it last year, and I just didn't get around to it. I've also heard really good things about this one. So this takes place in 1952 in Yorkshire, and it says Christmas is fast approaching when a dead stranger is found lodged up in the chimney of Holly House in the snow-covered village of Elderbury. Is he a simple thief or a would-be killer? A mystery that can't be solved. Inspector Frank Graspy is ordered to investigate, but as is often the way for him, things don't go according to plan. When the local doctor's husband is murdered, Graspy begins to realize that everyone in Elderbury is hiding something, and if he can't uncover the truth soon, the whole country will pay a dreadful price. I don't know how well that grasps your attention, but I will say I have heard really good things about this, and that this is the higher rated Christmas murder mystery book. I definitely wanted like a Christmassy murder mystery book, and then from there I will be going into reading Holly, which is the Christmas novella for the Ballad series. I actually did start this one, and then there was a few others that I really wanted to get done with last year before the end of the year, but it's just a book full of novellas, which is like literally the same size as all the other books, but they are novellas. Like the pages are a lot smaller and the chapters are short. There's this beautiful Holly border. There is a very small amount of words on the book, and so that's why there's so many pages. But one thing that is really cool about this book that I really liked is that the holly throughout each chapter actually grows on the border, as you can see. Isn't that so cool? I loved that. I thought that was so fun. And then I have the standard edition. There is a Barnes & Noble one where the roses are red and then holly is in red, and I really could not decide which book that I wanted, and I ended up getting the standard because all my other books in the series are also standard, mainly because of the hardcover. So the hardcover has like these basic color, but then the hardcover for Barnes & Noble, if I'm not mistaken, is fully green. I thought this was really pretty. They still have the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition for Holly, but look at the pretty end paper art. This has some of the characters in the series, and I'm not going to say who because that can be a spoiler in the books. Follow along the two main couples in this series. I really am excited about it. When I was reading it, it was really good. So the next Christmassy book that I will be picking up is Spectacular. This is part of the Caraval series. This is the Christmas novella. So this is actually the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, and I really wanted this one because the standard is just red, but Barnes & Noble has green and red, and I really liked that because it really adds to that Christmas feel. And another fun thing is that on the inside, it has these really pretty in paper art, which I really like, and then this really cute hardcover embossed foiling, which I also really like. I'm so excited for this because I absolutely loved this series. And then the back is also the same thing. It's the same in paper art, but it's just like a fun little side story of Caraval during Christmas time. And then the last book I plan on reading in December is actually the second book in the Rose and Chains like series. It's called the Evermore series. All I know is that it's Evermore 2. We do not know the name of the book yet, nor do we have the cover. It is the second book in the Evermore series, which the first book is Rose and Chains. So like I mentioned, in the month of December, I will be reading Murder at Holly House, Holly, the novella to the Ballad series, and then I will be reading Spectacular, which is the novella to the Caraval series, and then I will also be reading the second book in the Evermore series. So that concludes my TBR for 2026. So, darlings, I hope you enjoyed today's video just as much as I did making it. If you did, make sure you click the like button down below and subscribe if you would like to see more videos like this. And please let me know down in the comments if any of these books that I mentioned are in your TBR list for this year. And also let me know what your TBR list is for this year. Bye, darlings.